system. So we see an increase in the pH, showing that the treatment ponds are actually working. And then the downstream, we see an increase in pH towards neutrality. And why we had to look at the different ponds is to be sure that the increase in pH is not just a result of dilution, because most times you see a circumneutral stream, but it's just a result of dilution or the buffering capacity of the stream. But the result we got from the pond shows that this change is a result of the pond doing what they are supposed to do. And so we went further to do the alpha diversity. And what we observed is we see proteobacteria consistently dominant across, which is expected because literature has shown that proteobacteria, they are ubiquitous and prevalent in different kind of environments, both acidic and neutral environments. But then we noticed the occurrence of high relative abundance of sulfur-reducing bacteria in the treatment ponds. And this sulfur-reducing bacteria helps to reduce the sulfate concentration in this environment, showing that the ponds are actually working. And then we see that the upstream microbial characterization is similar to the downstream microbial characterization, which means that the treatment ponds are restructuring the microbial diversity towards the upstream, showing partial recovery of the stream. And then we took it down to the genus level. One taxonomic group that is often associated with ion oxidation is the Gallonella. And then in this microbial data, we see Gallonella present in the pond, especially the sediment pond, but in the receiving stream or the downstream, they are not present there. So it's also an indication of recovery of the stream. And so to see a clear distinction in the clustering of the different groups, we decided to do a better diversity analysis. And then we can see the different locations clustering differently. One thing we noted here is that the upstream and the downstream clustered together. And when the microbial characterization of the upstream and downstream are similar, it's an indication of recovery. And so to understand how these environmental factors are shaping microbial community structure, we went further to do a redundancy analysis. And first, the graph on the left shows correlation. And what we saw here is that different microbial groups respond to environmental parameters differently. We have some that increase as the acidity is increasing and some that reduce as the acidity is reducing. And so with this, we can understand or we can see a trend in microbial characterization. And then for the redundancy analysis, we saw that for upstream and downstream, the pH was the major environmental factor shaping the microbiome there. But in the sediment pond, where the acidity is very high, we see factors like conductivity and the metal concentration shaping the microbial characterization there. And so the conclusion from this research is that circumneutral pH is not directly the same or does not directly show that the system is recovering. However, in my research, pH still remains the dominant factor that is shaping microbial structure. And then we see downstream communities converging towards upstream conditions, which is an indication of partial ecological recovery. And so finally, I want to thank my lab members for the support. Without their support, this research may not be as successful as this. And I also want to thank the USDA NIFA for the grants that supported this research. Thank you for listening.
We do have some time left for questions, comments from the crowd, if anybody has any.
If nobody has it, I have it. Okay. So this is really great, like to see the functional. There are some really good all these wetlands that you mentioned, the cattails and the removal of like a portion of these pollutants in the system. Do you know this is a standard method used by the companies as well? Like because they got discharges. Do they use that kind of wetland system to eliminate their pollutants to the, those mining? Like what is going on? Do they do anything? Do they actually support this kind of treatments?
The what? Sorry, I didn't get your question.
How do I, so the miners,
Mm-hmm.
generally companies, private. Do you know in West Virginia, this is what you are proposing is a standard methods they are
Mhm.
applying, are they?
Mm-hmm.
Is it standard?
The phytoremediation, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
establishing wetland. Do you know companies are also doing for their discharge?
So is your question, is it, if I know if the companies are intentionally putting those plants there to absorb the metals, is
Yeah,
that your question?
yes, is this a standard method?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's what I am asking.
Okay.
Great. So they partially remove the pollutants
Mhm.
that way. Okay.
Mhm.